So, chat, this came across my timeline recently. Dagger G here says, when your opponent doesn't believe in your consistency. And here he is playing Guile. And what is that? Was that a Drive Rush Flash Kick? Sits on a Sonic Blade. Drive Rush Flash Kick again. Drive Rush Sonic Blade. Drive Rush Flash Kick again. 3 in a row. I honestly, at first glance, couldn't believe it. This is insane. I really couldn't believe that it turns out that the Street Fighter movie is lore accurate. All this time, I thought that they messed up when they did Street Fighter the movie and they showed Guile in the trailer doing a running flash kick. And I said, that's not how it works, man. Turns out they were playing 4D chess here and I was the simpleton who couldn't see the vision. Turns out running flash kick is the wave. But on a serious note, this was a really, really impressive sequence because doing Drive Rush into Flash Kick is actually extremely, extremely difficult to do if you understand how charge moves operate and if you've ever tried to do it yourself. But one thing I noticed when this clip was posted, they're obviously trying to flex this executional feat that they pulled it off 3 times in a row in a real match, is that the discourse around it seemed to imply that most people don't even understand what's going on. They thought that this was just a Guile player posting that they did flash kicks on jumps. Like they're trying to clown on the jury player for jumping, which of course against Guile, you're going to jump. Like if you get anti-aired by Guile, don't feel bad about it. That's part of the game. In fact, the discourse got to the point where the jury player even responded. They said consistency in quotes with the photo here showing that they actually won the set. But obviously this was in good fun. They were just kind of having some banter here, but a lot of the replies to this really did show that a lot of people don't understand the hidden difficulty of mastering charges and the hidden tricks that exist with charge characters to push their skill expression to a really high level beyond the normal capabilities of charge characters. And I put out a tweet about it. All the salty jury players and Guile haters responding to this don't even understand what they are seeing. Doing just one drive rush to flash kick is insanely hard. This is an execution flex. Try it out yourself. And I really do think as a community, we have lost recipes, essentially. I feel like the charge awareness since Street Fighter 6 has kind of decreased because we did release with Street Fighter 6 with a lot of charge characters. We had Chun-Li, Guile, Blanca, Honda, DJ, a decent number of characters with charge moves. But since then, we've seen less and less charge added to the game. In fact, the only character post-release that had any charge moves at all was M. Bison. And M. Bison, his most signature move, his scissor kick, is no longer a charge. And then a character like Alex, who used to have charge moves, has no charge moves at all instead of in favor of a stance system. So I really do feel like charge moves are kind of on the way out, and there's a lot of skill expression in the advanced mechanics of charge moves that I think go under the radar. So I want to talk a bit about those charge tricks, and also I will try out doing a Drive Rush Flash Kick because the fact that Dagger G did 3 of these in a row is insanely hard. We're going to see just how hard this is, and then we might have a secret bonus example after that one as well. So let's go ahead and get into it. So for basics, we're going to go all the way basic to most advanced charge tricks to expose how deep this bag of tricks really goes. So for the basic understanding of a charge move, like what is a charge move? A charge move is a special move that requires you to hold a defensive direction for a set amount of time before it's going to activate. So with Guile, if you hold back for at least 45 frames and press forward and a punch button, you will get a Sonic Boom projectile. If you hold down for at least 45 frames and then press up and a kick button, you will get a flash kick. If you hold down back, you get this synergistic relationship between them where you have both charge for a Sonic Boom and a charge for a flash kick when you're holding down back. And of course, that builds the basic game building blocks for Guile's playstyle. Throw Sonic Boom until they jump, and then do flash kick. And when you look at Guile's game plan, his heavy Sonic Boom is actually incredibly strong, right? If you look at the frame data of this, especially compared to like a Ryu that we have here on the screen, Guile's Sonic Boom has 10 frames of startup and 30 frames recovery and has a travel speed of 0.091. Whereas Ryu's Heavy Punch Fireball has 12 frames startup, 35 recovery, and 0.085 travel speed. So it has more startup, more recovery, and moves slower, which sounds kind of broken, and it kind of is, but that's because it has a limitation of you can't move around and do this projectile. I can't walk up and do low forward into Fireball. I can't move forward and throw a Sonic Boom. I must be holding back for 45 frames before I can throw a Sonic Boom and do another one. And that's the balancing philosophy around giving these extremely powerful special moves that are gate kept by needing access to the charge. But how charge players optimize getting that charge and working around those limitations is where the skill expression comes in to play. So we talked about how you can hold down back for both flash kick and for sonic boom. The other thing about Guile is he has a level 3, which is a back charge move, and then forward, back, forward, and all 3 kicks, or just 1 kick. I'm still thinking old school style. So it might be a little weird to do a back charge move out of a flash kick, right? Like, how can you do that? Well, you can do that simply by pressing up forward for the flash kick instead of pressing back or neutral jump up for the flash kick. And that gives you the overlapping input of down back, aka back, and then up forward, aka forward, and then you do the last back forward to do the level 3. So that's kind of one basic trick. Like, a lot of new players get hung up on, like, how do you even do flash kick to the level 3? You just kind of morph the inputs together. You hit the corners, you satisfy both the back with the down back and the down, and then you satisfy the up and the forward with the up forward. So understanding that overlap of how you can combine the corners for both directions is key to understanding how to do certain sequences. Now, the next limitation and charge trick to understand is the basics. Always be charging. A lot of new players get intimidated by charge characters because they don't understand how to actually use the charge moves because they keep losing their charge. Every time they do a sequence, suddenly they don't have access to flash kick or to sonic boom. And they tend to play like this. They walk backwards the entire time to throw sonic boom. And then if they're trying to flash kick, they make it so obvious because all they do is sit there and hold down back. And they end up being an extreme turtle version of the character instead of doing anything more active because they don't understand how to maintain charge while doing other offensive options. So a basic example of this, of always be charging, is during the recovery of literally any move where you can't be holding down back, you just immediately go back to charging, right? As soon as you do one option, like say I gotta do drive rush into stand heavy kick, for example, and I want to do a combo out of it. I want to do standing heavy punch. I don't want to do back heavy punch. I want to do stand neutral heavy punch because back heavy punch gives me this option and forward heavy punch gives me this option. But then I want to go to a charge move after. Well, if I do like heavy punch into heavy kick for a drive rush conversion, I can then immediately after pressing the heavy kick, start holding down back. If you look at my input history here, as soon as I press the heavy kick, you can see that I immediately then return to holding down back before my crouching medium punch. So I'm building the charge during the recovery of the heavy kick, and that allows me to then do crouching medium punch into the flash kick. I'm masking the charge time during the recovery of another move. And that's going to be sprinkled in everywhere when you're playing a charge character. Another example is, say you land a jump in at a distance. At a certain distance, the best combo conversion you can really do is sweep, maybe like out here. At this range, if you land a far range jump in, you can't really connect with almost anything else. I can't connect to any of my other normals besides crouch heavy kick. And you only get 1700 damage out of this. And you get a knockdown, it's not too bad. But one thing you can do is if you have your ABCs, if you always be charging, you're going to have down charge immediately after jumping. The moment you press up forward and you're committed to that state and your input directions don't have any influence, you start holding down back. That means when I land this jump in, I'm going to have both my back and down charge. That means I have access to flash kick, which is really fast and has a lot of horizontal range. And that does 2,200 damage. That does 500 more damage and sends in the full screen for me to then set up shop and start throwing some sonic booms. Once you have those basics mastered, then you have to understand how to get conversions in other situations where you can't really do too much. One common example is stand medium punch. Stand medium punch with Guile is a really strong offensive tool for him because it's 0 on block. And so you might see a lot of the time Guile players like drive rush medium into medium, and it's used a lot in his offensive pressure. The thing about stand medium punch is once you do stand medium punch, you're not going to have down charge, right? Like you have to literally be standing to do it. But out of stand medium punch, you can link into crouching medium punch. So if you go into this, you can hold back while you press stand medium punch. That's possible for sure. But even if you hold back as soon as you press stand medium punch and you try to go into a sonic boom from the crouching medium punch, if I'm charging this whole time, I'm not going to build my charge in time from walk up stand medium punch to crouching medium punch into sonic boom. I need to get 45 frames of holding back, and by the time I input the crouching medium punch, I just do not have that, no matter how early I start charging, because trying to charge as soon as you can is key. But there's a second key to optimizing your charge, and that is delaying your special moves as late as possible. So build charge as early as possible, but one thing you can do with a lot of moves is from crouching medium punch. If I cancel immediately, you can see on the bar here at the bottom where the frame meter is, I can cancel on the first active frame by inputting the cancel as fast as possible. However, if you see in this example, I canceled on the third active frame. So you can actually delay your cancel as late as possible and have more time to charge. So that's a big difference between having this many frames to charge, and then if you delay it, an extra 1 frame, or potentially an extra 3 frames. These frames absolutely matter, because now, before, when I walked up and did stand medium to crouch medium to sonic boom, I couldn't build my charge. But now, I can. All I did, the only difference here, is that I delayed canceling into the special move. If you do not understand this concept, you are a Guile player who cannot convert from this situation. Your offense becomes extremely, extremely limited. So the trick here is both, yes, charge as soon as you can. As soon as you press a stand medium punch, start holding your down back. But also, late cancel. Late cancel is required. So those are the two parameters that you can manipulate as a charge player, and those two tricks alone will show up in so many high execution scenarios and are the genesis of the super advanced charge techniques and these hidden optimizations that people who don't play charge characters don't see. They don't realize the skill level difference between different charge players. So that's a super basic example, but it gets really, really complex as you add more layers. So let's add the next layer to this, and that is the charge buffer. So we talked about how doing a sonic boom or a flash kick, you have to hold the back direction or down direction for 45 frames before activating your special move. However, you don't only have to do an immediate activation of the special move, because you notice anything interesting about my sonic boom? Or how about this one? You ever see Guile just casually walk up and flash kick you? It is possible, and that's because charge moves have a charge buffer. And it's interesting that it actually varies between the different special moves. With Sonic Boom, after you have your 45 frames minimum of back charge, and you let go of charge by not holding back anymore, or even holding a different direction, it doesn't matter. It just matters that you're not holding back anymore. You have 10 frames before you must finish a forward and punch input of some kind. So if you hold back for a certain number of frames, if you look at my frame input here, on that example, I did a walk forward Sonic Boom. I was holding down back here for 66 frames, then I was in neutral for 1 frame, and then I walked forward for 8 frames before I hit forward and punch. I was able to actually move forward for 8 frames before doing my Sonic Boom. That's almost the limit, because you have 10 frames to do it. If I went for longer, for example, so this one, you see here, I held down back for 64 frames, and then I did 10 frames of walking forward, then punch. That's too late. I lost the buffer of the charge, so it no longer reads this as a Sonic Boom input. And the same thing applies for Flash Kick, except Flash Kick is a little bit more lenient. You have 12 frames of buffer. So if you really push it forward, here I walked forward, I was neutral for 1 frame, and then walked forward for 7, then up for 1. So that's a total of 9 frames, and then I got the flash kick. But if I walk forward for too far, like right here, you see here I charge, and then I went for 14 frames before I hit up forward, it doesn't come out. But this little bit of difference could be the difference potentially from having your flash kick reach or not. So it allows you to do these just walk forward options. But there's also another trick to this that gets really, really interesting. Here is where you can start seeing how combos can be modified by this option. So with Guile, one other thing about him is he has a perfect version of his Sonic Boom, where if he presses the forward and activation within 3 frames of the punch button, you'll hear him say, perfect. The perfect is interesting because it gives you more frame advantage. You see up close, perfect light boom is +4, but regular sonic boom is +3, right? So it changes the frame advantage of the sonic booms. And you would think that that's always a good thing. However, let me show you this example right here. So in this range that I have set up, if I do a perfect boom, I'm going to be about +30, which is pretty good. However, it's not good enough for me to do something like this. No matter how hard I try, I'm not going to be able to land this light sonic boom and then combo into my EX boom at this spacing. However, remember what we said about the charge buffer. I have 10 frames where I can do whatever I want after getting my back charge before I go ahead and then throw my sonic boom. That includes walking forward, but it also includes walking back. And this is an OG charge trick that I think a lot of people don't remember. Do you notice anything interesting about my input right here? That was a non-perfect sonic boom, but if you look at my input history, here I'm holding down back, and then I let go of back, I hit forward, then I'm holding back for 3 frames before I throw my sonic boom. The point of this is I'm building charge 3 frames before I even throw my previous sonic boom for my next projectile. So this charge will carry over. So before I even throw my first sonic boom, I am building charge for my next sonic boom. That eliminates the option to do a perfect boom, but in exchange, I start building charge faster. So you can do that to potentially have faster sonic booms in a lot of situations because you're immediately building charge before you even throw the previous one. And in this example I showed, it's almost impossible to combo a perfect boom into an OD boom, even though the perfect has more frame advantage on hit. But if I do an imperfect boom with the charge buffer, suddenly I can combo a second OD boom. It's literally impossible to do perfect boom into OD here, but by doing the imperfect one, but I start building charge early using the charge buffer, I can throw a regular sonic boom into an OD boom. So this fireball trap is actually enhanced by foregoing the perfect sonic boom and using this charge trick, which is invisible to people if they're not looking out for it. You probably wouldn't notice this unless you're like a charge player yourself or like a Guile player yourself, that you're doing this pre-charged sonic boom sequence specifically to be able to have the most frame advantage possible. This is how pretty much every Guile player used to throw their sonic booms, and this is a pretty common trick, and it really helps you get more faster sonic boom sequences. And so there's a reason to not go for perfect boom in certain situations. This is crazy. That's what I'm talking about. Like, this is such a known thing from the Street Fighter 4 era, and it's almost like a prerequisite for anything. Same thing with Ballrug with dash punch. You would do this as well. You would immediately do forward and back, and then press the button to have charge for your next option. So it's definitely some lost recipes that we're seeing with the charge era. Now, we saw how we can manipulate the charge buffer to get pre-charge for Sonic Boom. But what about with Flash Kick? Is there anything special we can do with Flash Kick? Well, there is one specific example that comes to mind. Standing normals into a Flash Kick. This seems kind of awkward at first because typically you're going to cancel from a crouching normal and then input your Flash Kick input. But as I mentioned before, there's going to be a 12 frame window where you can be in any direction after you let go of your down charge, including neutral. So the secret to do like a standing normal, like even stand medium punch into a Flash Kick, is after you build your Flash Kick charge, you go to neutral, press your special cancelable button, and then hit up and kick very fast. So basically during the travel time from down to up, as you pass through neutral, hit your standing button. And it might just seem like a party trick, but this has actual real implications for Guile and is actually really key to convert in certain situations. So Guile can chain his lights, which is of course great, but he can also link out of his lights into stand light kick. This is really powerful because of course it gives him like one extra option, one extra light string to convert from. But on top of that, that lets him build charge for longer. However, there's something interesting about that, and that is that light kick has to be pressed from neutral. If you do back light kick, you're going to get a non-cancelable knee, and the forward one you can do as well, but you're going to eliminate your option for the standing or sonic boom charge. So you can potentially do things also like stand light kick to sonic boom, but you have to make sure to hit it in neutral. You can't do it while holding back into sonic boom. So there's a restriction there. But the main usage is after you do your 2 jabs, you can then link to stand light kick into the flash kick to get an extra conversion. This is really key because there will be situations in real matches where you do not have time to build your down charge after 2 crouching light punches. So what you'll see in situations like this example and other situations where they're just trying to convert is Guile players will then sneak in the stand light kick. And they'll do that because doing the stand light kick gives you more time to build the charge. So that's actually incredibly important in these situations because you might not have the charge otherwise to do that conversion. If you were to cancel 2 light punches into the flash kick, you have to cancel during the cancelable frames of the second light punch. But because you're going to then instead cancel from the stand light kick, after these 2 jabs, you can hold down back during the entire recovery of the last light punch, build those last few frames of charge, then let go and do stand light kick and the flash kick. It just adds it shaves a few extra frames or adds a few extra frames of charge timing, which is the key between getting the flash kick and not getting the flash kick. And that could be the difference between not getting a combo and getting something like, the level 3 conversion. There we go. Yeah, I'm very rusty at that, but that could be the difference between getting 2 light punches or a conversion from light punch to stand light kick, flash kick, level 3, right? Like that's a win and loss difference right there. And you'll see Guile players at tournament level bust out conversions like that all of the time to help build that extra little bit of charge timing. And you see the ridiculousness this comes to with advanced Guile combos. I'm just going to let this one play out. I'm not going to attempt this. You can see how deep the pool of options goes. Yeah, light conversion to level 2. And then this part is crazy. Dash up, heavy punch into sonic booms. And then during all this sequence, they're getting frame perfect charge timing on everything, using the earliest charge timing and the latest cancel timing to maximize charge, along with adding a micro walk into this to get an extra drive rush cancel. And remember, they started this from a light kick into level 2, and they built back the super meter to get into a level 3. So this combo is just insane. But to me, the craziest part is the part that goes under the radar, and that's just this part right here. So they're going to go ahead and throw the Vtrigger Sonic Booms, or I keep calling it Vtrigger, the level 2 Sonic Booms, and then they're going to then do a regular dash forward. They buffer the dash. Then during the recovery of the dash, they buffer the heavy punch, and then they're already charging for the Sonic Boom, and then they late cancel on the later active frames, as you can see there in these blurry red bars, to get the actual Sonic Boom. Dashing into a normal into a Sonic Boom is really difficult, and they make use of all the buffer timings and recovery of each state to master charge timing. I'm not even going to attempt that. I'm going to leave that up to the Guile experts, but those little moments in these conversions where they're foregoing charge, getting it back frame perfect, and then converting the combo from that are really difficult and also really hard to spot if you don't know what you're looking for. And that brings us all the way back to Dagger G and Drive Rush into the Flash Kick. So with all the knowledge you have now, you might be able to piece together that this might actually not be normal, because if you just try to do Drive Rush into Flash Kick, you're going to realize there's a problem here. Flash Kick is down plus up charge. To do a Drive Rush, you must go into neutral and then tap forward to dash out of it, foregoing your charge. You're not building the charge during the actual Drive Rush. That's actually impossible to do. What he is making use of is those 12 frames we talked about of charge buffer. Meaning, when he goes into the Drive Rush, he's completing a parry, forward, neutral, forward, into up forward with the kick within 12 frames. And this is why I ask people who are complaining about that to just try it. You can hold parry while holding down back and do it, or you can do it from neutral and try to do it. But doing this is insanely hard. And what you'll end up doing is this. You'll do what I'm doing right here, and whatever kick button you press, you're just going to get drive rush into the kick. So what I'm doing here is I'm holding down back, and I'm trying to do my drive rush as fast as possible into the up forward. But I only have 12 frames to do it. And here you can see I spend 3 in neutral, 5, 8, 9, 10, 14. I'm 2 frames off from it when I do it this way. And I attempted to do this with my medium punch and medium kick buttons into parry, into the flash kick, over and over. And keep in mind, I'm on leverless. This was insanely hard. This is so tight timing, and if you mess it up, you don't get your anti-air, you get a big heavy, the jump is just going to land on you and get a combo. You're just going to get jumped in on and die. So, I am very familiar with charge tricks, and this to me was super challenging to figure out. And I was able to get it like maybe once or twice. Oh my god, I did it. Okay, there it is. I finally pulled it off. This is really rare. This was a great success rate for me to get in this many tries. So you can see here, I'm holding down back for 66 frames. Then I lose my down charge here. 2 frames, 5, 7, 8, 9, 11, 12. I'm just there. I'm just there at the edge of the leniency. If I was a frame later, I would not have gotten the flash kick. And this is really fucking hard to do even once. And Dagger G did it 3 times in a real match. So what I realized is to make this more consistent, I can cheat more. I'm already on leverless, which to some people is already cheating. But I have a thumb button, which I use for parry. And so I was struggling a lot to do the medium punch and medium kick for my parry and to drive rush into this. And that was causing me a lot of trouble because when I go from the drive rush into the up forward kick, I'm losing a lot of frames there. So what I realized is if I use my parry macro, I can hold parry this whole time, never let go of it, and then just do drive rush out of this. And then I can just immediately, while holding parry, use my ring finger and hit up and flash kick at the same time. The travel distance from holding medium punch and medium kick, letting go, then hitting heavy kick, this travel time with my fingers was causing a lot of delay. But if I never have to move my hand at all, it suddenly becomes a lot more feasible. It's still difficult, as you can tell, but it's a lot more feasible. And if you can pull that off, that means theoretically you can also do something like this. First try. You theoretically can do dry rush flash kick into level 3. But not only that, I mean, this charge buffer rule applies to everything. You could also theoretically do drive rush into Sonic Boom, for example. This one has less leniency because it's 10 frames, but it's theoretically possible. There it is. Or drive rush into level 3. So you can do drive rush into any of these options, but I find it almost impossible to do when pressing medium punch and medium kick for drive rush. I find it a lot easier when using a drive rush parry. But I'm also kind of cheating because I'm holding parry to make it easier. If you try to do it on the fly, there it is. Yeah, doing it just like on reaction, incredibly difficult. So the timing on this is super, super strict. So it took me this many tries to get it in training mode one time. So being able to do this in a real match and pull it off and have the execution for it and the awareness to actually set it up, extremely difficult. So just because it is annoying to get anti-aired by Guile throwing Sonic Boom and then doing flash kick, I understand it. I feel your pain. But there's a little bit of nuance here that shows that, hey, like, this is actually something that's really hard and has risk, because if you mess it up, you just get a big heavy button and they land on you and you die. So I think these little kind of niche interactions are very cool. And it made me a little nostalgic about a charge character that I used to play that had a lot of interesting little charge tricks. So we got one little bonus segment here. Okay, so I played a lot of Oro in Street Fighter V, and Oro was a hybrid charge character who had a charge DP and a charge fireball, kind of like a Guile, if you will, alongside of having a lot of other motion inputs. And he did have a lot of charge tricks, including some basic ones kind of similar to what you saw with Guile. For example, he had an option to do a charge buffer and go into something like a towards medium here, into a heavy punch DP, if I can remember how to do it. There you go. So obviously the point of this is to get a little bit more damage out of your conversions. Towards heavy punch is this move here, requires you to be in neutral and hold forward, And then the down and up input for the DP requires you for the down charge. So in real combos in a real match, you would do this conversion mid-screen just to get a little bit more damage out of this situation, and it would just require that same sort of stand light kick to flash kick charge buffer timing. You had to input the forward medium punch just before you hit up forward and heavy punch for the DP. And it just got you a little bit more damage from those conversions. So it's a tiny little optimization. But really, where he started to shine is with his Fireball. So he has a light punch Fireball, medium punch one, and a heavy punch one. This paired with certain techniques got really, really, really fancy. So he has a stand medium kick. He also has a back medium kick and a forward medium kick. All really good moves in their own right with their own specific utility. But stand medium kick is the up close pressure tool. This is plus on block, strings into itself, and you can link out of it. So this is going to be used in a lot of situations. However, because it's the only special cancelable option out of the back medium kick and the forward medium kick, if you want to do a medium kick into Fireball, you have to use that sort of charge buffer timing, but instead of doing it from a down charge to a stand move to an up charge move, you have to do it from a back charge timing, neutral, and then a forward charge move with the Fireball. So it's the same charge buffer idea of doing the medium kick in neutral when passing from back to forward, but instead for the Fireball. And this is useful because out of like the heavy Fireball, you can combo. So that starts to string together in certain situations where, like, say if you want to link into the stand medium kick here, you have to purposely let go of any direction and perfectly time the stand medium kick in between doing the back charge and the forward charge. If you end up doing the medium kick too early, you're going to get back medium kick and mess up the combo. If you end up doing the medium kick too late, you get forward medium kick and you mess up the combo. And if you don't time it properly at all, you might end up just not getting the charge and the cancel at all. So it's definitely an execution check here. It's not that difficult once you get it, but it opens up new combo routes, such as doing something like this, right? Just a basic sequence. So yeah, that's a basic conversion that uses that charge buffer timing. But of course, there's layers. This is Oro. If you wanted to do this sequence, that's cool and all, right? But what if you added a bit more to it with the Tengu Stones? And this is where Oro's optimal 3-stone loop comes into play, because the Tengu Stones let you extend combos out of the medium kick to Fireball. One interesting thing about this is that this has next to no pushback. So suddenly, I messed up the loop there, but there you go. This loop requires you to do the charge buffer of neutral medium kick into heavy Fireball over and over and over and over again. If at any point you mess up the charge timing or mess up the neutral input, you're going to completely drop the combo. So it really, really mixes you up with that timing, and it's actually the optimal conversion in a lot of situations to go for this 3-stone loop like this. Then I think a DP there, I don't remember. But that's the 3-stone loop, which loops that charge buffer over and over and over again. But it doesn't just end there, because it actually goes a lot deeper than that when you introduce his OD Fireball, the EX Fireball in this version. EX Fireball is really good because it's plus on block for pressure, leaves you point blank with no pushback, and you can also combo out of it, right? So you can combo into your lights out of it, and you can also combo out of it into your stand medium kick. So if you are this OD Fireball or EX Fireball, you're plus enough to do stand medium kick and combo out of it that way. However, what's interesting about this is that stand medium kick can also cancel into OD Fireball. And for example, if you did a combo like this, I can do the stand medium kick to OD Fireball, the EX Fireball there, and then do a stand medium kick again. And you can start to see where this is going. If I can combo into the EX Fireball stand medium kick and out of it with the stand medium kick, why can't I just loop this? That's where the difficulty begins. Because of the fact that you have to do the stand medium kick in neutral, means it is almost impossible to do stand medium kick to EX Fireball, then hold back in time to then let go and do stand medium kick and have enough charge to still get the second EX Fireball. It's almost impossible to do that. Theoretically, if you are frame perfect with immediately after activating your Fireball returning to charge and frame perfect in releasing your charge to press the stand medium kick, you can loop this. I've done this before, but it was like 1 out of 1,000 tries, or like I got like 2 in a row after 1,000 tries. It is not practical to do, okay? It's like, it's almost impossible. It's just too hard to do this sequence, right? You're gonna always end up getting like the medium punch target combo. Very, very difficult to pull off. However, after this technical ability was discovered, there was a race to figure this out, and all the best Oro minds, me, Prophet, Broski, and even Javits was in the fray. And a certain technique was discovered, which does not exist in Street Fighter 6. This no longer exists. I'm going to show a little example of that right here. See if you can see what's going on here. Did you guys notice anything weird about this input sequence? If you look closely at the inputs, you can see I did my charge heavy punch, and then I went to link a stand medium kick. However, what I'm actually inputting there is up, back, and medium kick. So how in the hell am I getting this move when I inputted this? How is that even possible? Does that even make any sense? And the answer to that is a weird quirk in the Street Fighter V engine. I'm not even getting back medium kick when I'm holding up, back, and pressing medium kick. Instead, I'm getting stand medium kick. For some reason in this game, if you input things during the input buffer, because there's about a 5-frame window where if you input a move while in recovery, it'll read that input and give it to you anyways as soon as you come out of the recovery. If you do a move while holding up in any direction, but then as you come out of the recovery, you're no longer jumping, the game will see, okay, you input a jump move, but right now you are not trying to jump. I instead will give you a neutral version of that move. So it doesn't matter what you input. I could do also like the up forward version during this, and I won't get forward medium kick because I inputted up medium kick early during the buffer, but because I stopped jumping at the end, the game goes, oh, I guess you just meant stand medium kick, which is so strange. In Street Fighter 6, it does not do that. In Street Fighter 6, it will also get rid of your jump, but it will give you the forward or back input version of the move if you did up forward during the buffer or up back. This quirk is gone from the Street Fighter 6 engine. It keeps your left and right direction, but Street Fighter 5 erases that for some reason. That is useful because if you look at this input again, what are you noticing about this input? I'm doing charge heavy punch to neutral stand medium kick, but I never let go of charge. I'm able to suddenly access this move without losing my back charge at all. Which, if you start combining that together, that means you can start looping. So that combined both the jump cancel loop and the Vtrigger charge buffer loop. But this sequence becomes accessible to loop medium kick to EX Fireball over and over, because as soon as you do the medium kick to the OD Fireball, you start building charge again, and you're able to build charge during the startup and active frames of the stand medium kick, giving you a few extra frames of charge timing that you would absolutely lose if you had to do the original let go and medium kick and neutral charge buffer technique. The jump cancel makes this practical to do because it extends the window you can charge throughout the actual active frames of the stand medium kick. It's still awkward. It's a really awkward input to like master. I've lost the touch and I had to regain it, but it's actually practical. Way more practical than the frame perfect charge timing. Now, let's see if I can actually do the full sequence, because if this is done correctly, then this should be a stun combo.
One eternity later.
I promise you, once upon a time, I knew how to do this. And there it is. The instant stun combo on Akuma. That combo is just crazy because it combines so many unique aspects of charge mastery. The whole jump cancel shenanigan that is only unique to this game and was like developed with a community effort, and that allows you to loop the medium kick to EX Fireball over and over. Then the Vtrigger loop, which has all the charge buffering with the neutral stand medium kick, and lets you do this crazy combo that you wouldn't be able to do otherwise. So I just wanted to use this opportunity to talk about like advanced charging techniques. I feel like charge moves are rather underappreciated these days, the complexity that is behind them, and it's a layer that is very translucent. You can't see it unless you have done it yourself or understand it. So I see that charge moves get kind of disrespected these days, and I wanted to show off some of the complexity and skill expression that they still offer, and how like some charge techniques might be the hardest things you can do in modern Street Fighter titles. Anyways, that's all I got for this video. Thanks for watching, and I'll catch you in the next one. Peace.